Hello. In this video, I'm going to show you how to do a few things in Tableau. Now, I have Tableau version 2018.1.6. So you may have a very similar version. As long as you have version 2018 or better, then what I'm doing in here should work for you. Any older versions, I'm not sure if it'll work. But nonetheless, when you first open Tableau, you'll see a screen allowing you to connect to various things, such as a file or a server. You're going to want to connect to an Excel file. So click Microsoft Excel, and then you're going to find that Excel file that we gave to you, the data set. Now, in this case, I'm using a different data set, but for the purposes of your class, you'll want to use the production analysis data set. So once you connect to the data set, you will see below here where it says Sheets, these are the different worksheets that came over from Excel when Tableau imported all of that data. And I'm going to use this core data set and just drag that right over. So I click and drag over to the area up here. I can just do that one more time. Drag sheets here, so I just click, drag, and you can see the sample data down here below. If everything seems to be lined up and looks good to you, which it should, we've organized the Excel spreadsheet to be highly organized for you. It should import with no problem. We've tested this multiple times. If you do have any problems importing the data set, then please let your instructor know as soon as possible. So as soon as you're comfortable with this, down here below you can see Go to Worksheet. So I'm going to just click Sheet 1. This is your canvas over here. So there's a lot going on this screen here in Tableau. I want to draw your attention to dimensions and measures. So dimensions are often text-based fields. They could be categories, they could be dates, they could just be names, they could be performance scores or the position that the person holds in the company. Also, we have state and zip code. You'll see the little globe when you can use these dimensions to create maps, which is really kind of a neat feature in Tableau. And I'll show you that in a moment. Below here, we also have something called measures. Measures are usually quantitative fields, numbers, okay, that you can drag over and plot your visualizations with. And you'll be able to look at the dimensions and measures in different ways in the visualization. So one of the first things I'm going to show you is how to create a map. Very simply, if you have a zip code in your dimensions list, at least in this case we do, I'm just going to double-click zip code. And it's immediately going to create a map. This is essentially a map of where all my employees live. Okay, I can zoom in by using the scroll wheel on my mouse, just by scrolling up. I'm going to just zoom right into Massachusetts. If you want to move this map around, you'll have to come over to this little pill icon here and then click the pan button. So now I can click and move this around a little bit. So that's a handy thing to know when you're creating maps, because otherwise you are stuck in a select mode like that. And I'd rather have the pan option. So zoom in, zoom out with the scroll wheel, and then pan by making sure this is selected and moving that around. Okay, so you've created your first visualization. Right now, this is plotting or showing every single employee record in the data set. Now, within this particular data set, we have both active and terminated employees, and those are listed, those categories are listed under employment status. So one of the things I can do is just filter out the employees that no longer work for this company. And I can click, excuse me, I can click employment status and drag it right up to filters. So just a lot of clicking and dragging going on here. And now I want to select only the active employees. Okay. Maybe for my analysis, I don't care about any of the terminated or people that are going to start in the future, people on LOA. So just you're going to click active, you're going to click apply, and then click OK. And what that will do is it will remove any of the non-active employees. So I'm just going to zoom in, move around a little bit more. You can see there happens to be one employee way down here in Hull, where I live. And yeah, so a lot of these, you'll see they're all blue. I can also do some interesting things like color code these based on, let's see, based on the employee's position. So I'm going to click position and then drag it to, whoops, click position, drag it over to color. Okay, so that gives you a nice little visualization using some color. Okay, we can see from looking at this that if I can tell that color right there, it looks like the CIO lives in 02067. I'm not sure what town that is off the top of my head, but that's where they live. Okay. Let's create our next visualization then. You can click the next visualization, but it's basically another worksheet within this workbook. Tableau is organized into workbooks, much like Excel, right? You have an Excel workbook, and then within Excel, you have multiple worksheets. Same idea is going on here in Tableau. So you can click this button down here with the little plus, and you'll have a blank visualization again. So this time, I'm going to use some measures. I'm also going to use some dimensions on the same visualization. That's the idea. So let's get a handle on maybe the number of employees in the entire data set. So I can do just double click number of records, and it looks like I have 301 records. Well, again, not all of these employees are active right now. Some of them may have been terminated, so I'm going to apply my filter. Clicking, dragging employment status over here. I can click active, click apply, and 174. Let's say I want to break this out into, I don't know, the different positions. How many employees do we have in the different positions? I can double click this. And this gives you an idea of the fact that we have this really a high number of production technician 1s and 2s from the operations department. Also, if you want, it's really helpful to know how to sort these graphs, especially the bar graphs. So what you'll do, especially in a case like this, is you're going to come over here where it says number of records, and you'll notice when I hover over, you'll see this little tiny arrow right there, the little bars and this little arrow. You're going to click that to sort. And you can sort by keep on clicking. You can sort highest to lowest, lowest to highest, and back again with no sort. So I'm going to do highest to lowest. I can see right away I have the most number of production technicians, and then it just kind of goes down from there. Of course, I know I only have one CIO, and these are all you know, the onesies here. The Director of Operations, CIO, Director of Sales. I have a few network engineers, production managers, 9 production managers, and so on. I can also, I believe I have a department dimension, so I'm going to drag the department dimension up to where it says columns. Now you'll see it's sorted by the different departments. Obviously we can see the production department now has the most number of employees. And you wouldn't really be able to figure that out just by eyeballing the data. That's why the visualizations exist in the first place, to really highlight things that you weren't aware of before. You can also do some interesting things like move this department over to the right of position to look at it a different way. This way doesn't work kind of really as nicely as the other way, so I'm just going to go back. If you want to go backward, you can click this left arrow, okay, and you go back to the previous visualization. Now, a lot of working with the visualizations revolves around really clicking and dragging and playing with the different dimensions and measures. Keeping in mind that whenever you create a visualization, the visualization is often tied to a question or problem or opportunity that you're presented with. In your assignments, you're going to be given multiple questions, and for each question, you need to create a visualization that helps uncover the truth about whatever's going on for that question. You may need multiple visualizations, and as a matter of fact, we ask that you create 2 visualizations for each question, but some questions may require more than the minimum 2 visualizations to really tell the story of what's going on. So what I'd like to do next is move on to the next video where I'll talk about calculated fields, which you will need to know how to do for the assignment in this class.